You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Showing up. That's actually not enough queens. The queens are going to lose this battle. There's not that much transfuse left anymore either. Good micro by Haas. One oracle will finally fall. Maybe one more will go down. But not before all these queens die. And I think with that, Zhuge has died as well. And there is a lot of energy on these phoenixes. So many of these probes are going to die. If not pretty much all of them, Todd. I mean, that's a crazy amount of graviton beam that's available. And this is incredibly painful. And this is why it's so hard to transition out of Phoenix against Phoenix. How high is the Stalker count? It's quite high, but is it high enough?
He still can reinforce nearby. Nice, he's gonna basically fly right in there with his ground arm. He's still doing a lot. Picks up all of these disruptors. They're all dying right now. That means he might be able to clean up on the ground thanks to these Zealots and Archons. Well moved. Overextended big time this time around. And Nice is gonna punish him for it.
Yep, I think we're almost in a lot of trouble right now. I don't think he can recall out of it this time, as the Mothership Core is gonna snipe as well. He blinks forward, but the Phoenix is doing a really good job in trapping a couple of these Stalkers. And the DPS just isn't there anymore for the Finnish Protoss. Very nice. And this weapon was incredibly late. Now the Mothership Core is taking a lot of damage. Imagine if Robo can get the Twilight here. Did he just kill the Robo?
That was a Robo. And the Mothership Core is going to go down to like a... Okay, there's two Stalkers, but still that wasn't supposed to happen. Resident Glaives not going to be able to finish. He just lost two tech structures.
More economy, but that double drop with 4 Marauders and 1 Marine remaining actually dealing tremendous amount of damage, and that's a pylon that will cancel out 4 gateways at the same time. No force field to push back the Terran player from Germany, and this looks like an easy win for Hero Marine. 2 games in a row. Those Marines, they're not having any problem to get all those probes out, and Stalker also GG. 5 queens, no transfuse, they're a little bit exposed right there. Gonna get the targeting down on the medivac. Slow micro from the Terran player, but super sick in the end. Getting the first one, targeting down the second. Third one will go down, fourth down will go down. 5 queens will go down. It's gonna be a super tough hold for Haas, so we'll go for it anyways. Those Archons soak up a lot of damage. Super offensive blade, but now auto turrets and PDDs, nothing is shooting in this army except those Zealots going for the tanks, but this is not enough.
Hello everyone and welcome to Nation Wars 4. We already got done with 2 of the groups. We still got 2 left to go before the quarterfinals. And today Korea comes into play. I'm joined by Zombie Grub. How excited are you for today's group?
Well, it's South Korea, so I'm pretty darn excited. Of course, Canada and Sweden will be the match after this one. But Brazil versus South Korea. I have some excitement for this. I mean, Kalazur is kind of the ace, I would say, and he has been showing some good results, but it's South Korea.
Yeah, it's kind of an unlikely clash as well. There is no other nation wars like this in Starcraft, and the only moment you're going to see, Brazilian players go up against South Koreans, I guess, is when Kalazur goes to some of these international tournaments, and even then it doesn't necessarily happen all that often. So it's really nice to see some of these guys go up against one another. So hopefully we get some more good games today. There were a lot of good ones before, and I'm super excited. Sweden, in my opinion, is a big question mark how well they will do. They used to be considered one of the absolute best countries, maybe the best country besides South Korea in StarCraft. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, maybe not in their most glorious days, I would say, even though they still got some very strong players in their arsenal.
some very strong players, but I think definitely having, well, actually, I'd rather get like their opinions on it, but does having all of one race put you at a severe disadvantage? Because of course Canada now has to, only prep for one race, and that could be a pretty big deal. And all their, like you said, like they used to be really, really big, but nowadays, like it's just not as fearsome as, say, of course, South Korea. And with Scarlett being in Korea training and looking pretty good, of course, that's going to be a tall order for Sweden to beat. I actually predicted Canada to win, but I feel like that's some North American bias right there. So I don't know.
Some Scarlet bias maybe as well.
Yeah, maybe some
too.
Scarlet bias.
A lot of people like to see Scarlet in action. I'm personally really looking forward to this, especially like if Canada plays against South Korea, they will be playing without lag as well, because Scarlet's in South Korea.
Yeah, for Scarlet. I believe no regrets in Canada right now, and Semper in Canada as well. But yep, there are the brackets. So Korea, Brazil, and then Canada, Sweden. So I would be excited to see Canada versus Korea, to be honest. But Canada versus Brazil also has like their own storylines if they happen to meet in the losers, or I guess technically they could go to the winners. But
do you have two clear favorites there?
Well, I think Korea and I know most people are going to say Sweden are favorites, but like I really, and maybe this is like some severe anti-Zerg bias or something, I don't know, but like I really don't know about all their like one single race representing a country. I really feel like that is going to put them at a disadvantage, like Scarlet being so good at DBZ, and then all three of the members have an only practice versus Zerg. I don't have a favorite for that group, but definitely South Korea a favorite group overall.
All right, I believe we've got a video ready with some thoughts from the casters from yesterday's matches, so let's take a look at that.
Loser match de ce groupe B, Finlande contre la Taïwan. Et il y a eu 4-2 pour la Taïwan. Et oui les amis, la Taïwan élimine la Finlande de Serral.
Comme prévu, énorme game de Az en ouverture avec de la photon, du cheese, des oracles dans tous les sens.
Un gros BO avec tout de même un point négatif qu'il faudra souligner, c'est Serral, le joueur finlandais qui n'a pas pu jouer malheureusement.
And then we thought Serral was going to all kill. Well, the internet got the best of Serral. So that was all up to Welmu, and Welmu was kind of going to have to be like Neo from the Matrix, dodging all cheeses left and right. And he did a good job, had fun games, but he was surprised by a very solid nice on Echo.
Donc on va voir ce que ça va donner contre l'Allemagne, mais en tout cas l'upset est réel.
Et on arrive à la conclusion de cette énorme stomp, l'Allemagne qui afflige un 4-0 bien sévère à notre ami le petit Brie, Az et son confrère l'Euroblochon, Monsieur Nice, n'est-ce pas?
We expected Germany to 4-0, and they did.
In the end, didn't play up to the task against Germany. It was just a little bit too hard for them. Hero Marine was just in top form.
They weren't against Terran, and maybe that's their weakness, I don't know. But Hero Marine looked really strong, taking the all-kill.
Le dernier match, on a encore perdu. Quand est-ce qu'il va regagner un match, hein? Grosse déception. Enfin voilà, l'Allemagne qui assure, mais ce qu'on voulait c'est du cheese successful. Le fromage n'a pas été assez puant, visiblement. Déçu.
Just an amazing performance by Germany, and in the end, that group of deaths ends up with Germany and Netherlands advancing, and that's all what we anticipated.
I love these videos.
Yeah.
Yogo was pretty funny.
Yeah, apparently he's a really big Haas fan. Actually, I had no idea. So
that's why he was yelling yesterday when Haas was like the player that coming out. He's like,
yeah,
down
I heard
there.
some of that.
Yeah, really fun to see these. And Koka as well. Koka is hilarious. He was calling Taiwan the Taiwan for some reason. He was like La Taiwan. We don't even say that in French. I don't know why.
I just assumed it was a French thing. Like I noticed, but I was like,
Yeah,
oh, something with, it's French, right?
He's trying to make up for the absence of Moman or something.
Oh.
But, like that's where you see that O Gaming and Nation Wars is such a different tournament. I don't know. Like the last one, there was a match that didn't involve France, and they recorded where Koka was talking about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm just gonna make an example." He was like, "Oh yeah, Finland against this country. I don't give a fuck about that match," and they put it in the video that you show before like these games. I was like, "Well, yeah, it's different, but it's fun. You know what? And,
Yeah.
why not?"
The atmosphere here in the O Gaming studio is like quite different from anything else. I mean, it's almost kind of like Home Story Cup, but even still like different than that.
And here's the whole schedule with these groups, the round of 8, and then into the studio finals. So for the next few days, we'll be playing the 2 remaining groups here in the round of 16. And then on the 7th, just basically back-to-back days of play here, it's going to be the playoffs with the round of 8, and then we'll take a break for 2 weeks, and we'll come back with the studio finals that will be played live here in Paris on the 21st of January. That will involve the top 4. So I guess a lot of good players will get to see the Eiffel Tower and maybe the Louvre.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that live finals. It's still a ways off. We have a lot of groups to go through, but I already know that Germany and the Netherlands have advanced, so they're one step closer, I suppose.
Yeah, I think we're going to head to an interview in a moment. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Actually, and I guess we got something to show before. And that's the lineups that are very important as well. So from Korea, it was almost an all-Terran lineup. A lot of Terrans were being voted in, but Zest sneaked in there. And he's probably going to be very motivated, actually, to do well because he lost in GSL today.
Right?
To 2 Terrans.
Yeah, I guess spoiler alert for anyone who didn't watch yet. Whoopsie. But yeah, he did lose against not only just 2 Terrans, but I would say that Terrans that people really didn't expect to do so well. And we'll see. I mean, Brazil does have a Terran, of course, Kellezer, and that is their ace. But if Zest can't do it, if they send him out first, for instance, well, Beyond Innovation certainly can. Of course, 2 top Terrans. They were almost all Terran. I actually specifically voted for a Zerg just to make sure that they weren't, which didn't obviously go through. But at least Zest sneaked his way in there.
And it's going to be Beyond and Zest's first Nation Wars as well. Innovation, obviously runner-up in the last one. He got Marine Lorded, some might say.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's going to happen again. It would have to be like Kellezer or Hero Marine, unless Marine Lord suddenly just has like a, I don't know, huge like bursts in motivation. As of course, he
Super
recently,
Saiyan.
Yeah, exactly. With Super Saiyan, like because of course recently he announced that this is going to be his last tournament and all that, which is quite sad. But
Look at the career gains between these 3. It's like 300k, 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 pretty much. And then you compare with Brazil, 0, 4,000, 58,000.
Yeah.
Really goes to show how Kellezer, I guess, will be the ace here and will most likely have to carry. You shouldn't sleep on anybody, though, in this tournament. Some players, they take this very seriously, as they should. They prepare to snipe someone, but against Korea, obviously, is going to be hard. But Eric and Master looking forward to seeing if they can put up a good fight here.
Yeah, Kellezer, obviously the ace. We're looking towards him more than anyone else. But I mean, Zest has had some weakness versus Protoss lately, it feels, in the PvP. Maybe Master could come out, get a win there. Obviously, we had Croatia and Patak, the Zerg player. Actually defeats Korea twice, both Bjorn and Zest. So maybe Eric was learning from those games, and maybe he could do it too. But of course, all eyes are on Kellezer.
All right, we're going to be heading to the interview area with the captains and some very handsome gentlemen to interview them. So guys, take it away.
Handsome indeed. Thank you, Todd, for that nice introduction of us, I guess. I'm here with Rotterdam, ready to do some interviewing. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for a new day of StarCraft. We got 3 matches today, and that's way better than 2. And I'm obviously, I mean, how can you not be excited to watch Korea? And I want to see if we can get another Patak.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to see the new Patak. And once again, like Korea has been dropping games in Nation Wars. It's never been that easy. We always say like, it's gonna be a 4-0. Obviously, this is Korea. Well, no, you guys are actually losing games quite a bit. So we have our Brazilian captain here, Kellezer, joined us to answer a little bit of a question. How are you doing, Kellezer?
I'm doing well, and you?
Pretty well. What about you, Rody? You good?
Yeah, Diego, how are we feeling? Are we ready to make history today?
I'm feeling good. As good as I can be.
It looks very calm in the root house. Is everybody asleep?
There's only me and Cats right now.
Wow.
Lots of shoes for only 2 person.
Living the dream, just you and Cats together in California in that big house.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have more members soon.
Okay. How's the practice been going lately? I know you've got a very busy January coming up. You'll also be heading to China soon. So are we in top condition?
Yeah, I think I'm feeling good. I just came back from holidays for New Year's and Christmas, but past couple of days I've been practicing a lot and not bad.
All right, before we're going to ask about the rest of the team, so what did you do for New Year's evening? How does Kellezer spend New Year?
I just went to spend it with my family and lays around by the fireplace.
Florida or Brazil?
Actually, they were in San Francisco.
Well, here I am trying to look smart. I'm done. Take it away, Fonka.
All right. We have one major question about the Brazilian team, which is how good is Master? We don't really know a lot about him. We actually didn't have a picture for him. He's like kind of the blank guy at the moment. Can you tell us a little bit about Master, who plays Protoss, for people who don't know?
He got to top 16 GM on an A once, and he's he's not as good as most of the pros, but he can take off maps. That's for sure.
All right. And what about maps against Korea, which is, I guess, a slightly different thing?
Hey man, anything can happen. We saw what happened with Patak, right?
All right. He can be the new Patak. Roddy?
Yeah. No,
Good.
I'm surprised with that. I didn't know he was that good. Obviously, I expected him to be somewhere top 50, top 60. But if he made it to top 16 months, I mean, sure, it's NA. But then, once again, if Patak can take maps, somebody that makes it to the top 16 of the North American ladder can perhaps have a nice cheeky build up his sleeves as well. So I'm excited. How's Eric doing? Is Eric in top shape as well, Calazur?
I've actually been practicing a lot with Eric. I don't think he was playing a lot recently because of school or something. But the past few days, since I came back from holidays, we've been practicing a lot since there's 2 Terrans in Korea, and I'm feeling confident for him.
All right. Well, I'm ready. Since we don't have a Korean captain. Last year we had Hydra, and Hydra was very good in doing these interviews for Team Korea. Unfortunately, there's no Hydra this year. So we don't have anyone of Korea here, but I'd like to ask you, who's going to be the first player of Brazil?
It's me.
Ooh.
Right. And I know the first player for Korea.
I don't know.
So I guess I'm going to tell you, you're going to be playing against Bjorn. First match will be...
nice warm-up, Calazur.
Yeah. I hope you played a couple of ladder games before. No, that's my first game of the day. I'm gonna play,
what has that guy ever won? Don't worry about it.
Well, actually, we played in WCA, and I should have won the best of 3. I threw the last game, so I'm kind of hopeful for this rematch.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I want to wish good luck to you, Eric, and Master as well.
All right. So you guys have a great game. Good luck. Have fun. And thank you for answering our questions.
I like Diego. He's always such a well-spoken, quiet guy.
Super chill.
Incredibly nice and actually very good as well. He recently had a good performance in this one tournament that completely flew under the radar, the WCA one.
Oh, yeah, that he mentioned during the interview.
Was it the semifinals he made it, correct? And he lost against Patience in a very close series.
Yes, top 4, from what I can remember.
And I think he
indeed.
lost 3-2, so...
Yeah, okay. So definitely some players that can do something about against Korea. We hope they do well. Korea versus Brazil, our first matchup. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Funka. Excited for this one. Did you see Kelazzo's face when he heard who his opponent was going to be? He did like a little twitch. He was like...
Yeah. I think actually Innovation might have been even worse for him. He might have just been like, but Bjorn, as he said, he actually had a fairly decent performance against him. I mean, from like months ago, actually, they've played not a lot, but enough times in online leagues that I feel like Kelazur, sure, he's lost most of the time against Bjorn, at least might feel somewhat comfortable. Like, okay, I've dealt with this guy before. It doesn't do anything surprising.
Yeah, he sounded decently confident, I guess, from what he was saying. So we'll see if that translates into a good performance. I mean, let's be straight here. On paper, Korea is supposed to do very well, probably win 4-0 in this, and making it out in the first place out of that group. But like Funka pointed out, they've struggled a little bit in Nation Wars before, and keep the discussion going as well. Hashtag NW4. But yeah, they struggle at times in this tournament, not just against France as well.
Yeah, they do. And everyone said at the start of this Nation Wars, like, well, the last Korean team's lineup was a little bit weak, or like this one is really, really solid. And then Patak happened. So once again, as yesterday I looked forward, I was like, well, Patak happened. So like, I believe in Kelazur. I believe in Eric. I don't know much about Master, but sure, I believe in Master as well.
Okay, we're going to get started very soon with the first map here between these 2 Terrans. Excited for this one. I'm not sure how good Kelazzo's TVT is. It's probably quite all right, I would say. I know him mostly for his TVZ.
Right. I feel like it's a lot of Terrans. I know mostly for the TVZ. But yeah, TVT is going okay for him. It's not his best matchup, but maybe the recent results that he did pretty well against Bjorn will give him a lot of favor there. Of course, you can hashtag who you want to win, seen down below, so you can we can get those guesses. Of course, we thought that you guys were totally wrong with the Taiwan yesterday, and then you guys were right actually about the versus Finland game. So
we predicted the same.
We did.
Congratulations.
Yes, we'll win. We will.
Someone will win a map from Brazil, and then Korea should swipe.
I really believe that one map will be given away. I do. So I think Kelazur, I guess, will might be the one to take that. That's what I guessed anyway. But coming up first versus Bjorn, no matter who he played against, it was going to be difficult. But I don't think it's a 4-0.
But actually, he has to beat Bjorn if he's going to win one map, right? Because he faces him first.
Yeah, exactly.
So he gets 2 chances, I guess. Oh, according to
Two
our
chances,
prediction,
yeah,
Roddy thinks it's going to be a very straightforward 4-0 and Funka with the 4-2.
Yeah, I don't like. We were there and Roddy was just like, "No, you're wrong." Like when I said 4-1, yeah, he was like, "No, you're wrong. Sorry." But, I don't know. He's been pretty good in his game most of the days. But there was that one day he just got it completely wrong. But I guess everyone was like last week or 2 weeks ago actually. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Of course, we get into this game soon. It will be on Vani Research Station. Okay, oh my god, alright. So this is a pretty popular map in TVT for proxy reapers, but I'm not sure, like, these guys actually might respect one another enough not to do that. Kelazur can be cheesy for certain.
I mean, he's known for it, right? Like
yeah.
if Bjorn goes the extra mile and scouts for it, spots it, then it's almost impossible to win from that position. So maybe a standard game, hopefully.
I would think so. Maybe like one base versus one base, as Kelazur is a bit of a micro god and like multi-harassment and all that. But Bjorn, of course, as well. Here we are into the first game, and oh, okay, well, look at that. In the bottom right, as the red Terran, he is Kelazur.
Actually, in the top side, building a barracks. And his opponent, playing as the blue Terran, he better be ready for this. It's, of course, Bjorn.
Alright, well, this is just funny if Bjorn... So Bjorn doesn't technically have to scout if he's going to go for a one-base build, as that is kind of the counter that you would want to go for anyway if you scout that they're going for Proxy Reaper. But it is going to come down to momentum and snowballing and micro, which Bjorn usually has very good micro, but oddly enough, not on his first Reaper. He's lost that like a lot. And
we saw this build earlier, right? I think the one who proxied won. I don't quite remember who it was. Maybe, who was it that did it? We already saw this. Like, I'm positive. I casted a game in which we saw a proxy Reaper.
Yeah, I don't doubt you.
Like, the initial Reaper fell, and then the...
yeah. That actually might have been the day that I wasn't here. So I watched the games, but I can't remember.
As well.
Yeah,
sure
something like that.
So, like, we've seen this already being used before, and it was quite deadly. I like that depot here. That's going to be able to spot earlier when a Reaper jumps in there, and even give vision from afar so that you can make sure you get the right engagement. And also, like, Kelazur, when he jumps up this ramp up there, he's also might be waiting or might be wasting some of his shots onto those SCVs, but he gets the snipe on the first SCV that was building the factory, and now snipes the other one that was building the depot. He's going to try to get a cancel on that.
This is actually some pretty good harassment. Like, and the high ground, it was an engineering bay. Yeah, it is an engineering bay. This is actually a really cool maneuver. It not only gives you high ground vision, it also has the chance to have anything miss micro. The SCVs miss micro, start attacking. The Reaper starts attacking that. That is actually super important. And as his barracks are all finished up, the Reaper's going to be coming very quickly.
Yeah, that eBay is sick to have vision there. Kind of reminds me of some of the PvPs that we used to see, where you need to have the high ground vision to attack or to even warp in back in the day. But now Kelazur is going to be getting right in there with the Reapers. He loses one very important one, a grenade.
That grenade was pretty good, actually. He's one of those Reapers very low, and he gets the snipe on it. Good job, Kelazur. A lot of the SCVs are going down, too. A Cyclone will help. The Cyclone's new and improved health actually makes it very difficult for Reapers to kill in this current iteration, but it still has potential to be grenaded multiple times if Kelazur can get enough Reapers.
Yeah, actually, that eBay fully finished. That's quite crazy. But yeah, Kelazur having lost some of his Reapers there, it's going to be harder now for this to work, especially because we've got a Hellion on the way, more Reaper as well from Bjorn, who can pull SCVs to make sure he's got something tanking at the front. Vision has been lost on the high ground, and the Walker counts even from there.
Yeah, but of course Kelazur didn't even get an orbital up until this point. It's only just finishing, so he still would be pretty difficult position to actually come back. Of course, if you want to actually use his barracks, you have to float him all the way back home. So this is still very...
another one, very important here. You want to be able to snowball completely here from that position, not give away units like he just did.
Yeah, and with Bjorn already almost done with his starports, Kelazur's not going to find an easy time doing any follow-up damage. Like, you won't surprise Bjorn with a Banshee, or shouldn't anyway. I mean, his Reapers can get to a count of like 10 or 12, and suddenly you just do not... Like, if you don't face people who go like 15 Reapers, you don't realize how good they are, but I think Bjorn's going to take this pretty seriously.
Yeah, he's already got quite a few good units here on the high ground. 2 Hellions with the third one about to come out. And we've got that Banshee now on the way as well. Barracks is going to spot on the high ground. I like this a lot because he doesn't need to be producing too much here out of this barracks. You know, this rush has ended for the most part. He could
Yeah.
actually snipe that depot from afar, which called down
pretty
supply
good.
was used on it, so that's going to supply block Beyond for quite a bit.
Yeah, that actually super supply blocks him. Unfortunately, a little bit late to supply block that Banshee that Bjorn is getting. This is like, it's not even that dangerous really for Bjorn to be doing this. Like,
The depot at the ramp, by the way, like they're just.
oh, that's true. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that
actually already
one, yeah.
pretty weak. So he'll probably get that one too. But, anyways, Kelazur, like, I don't even know if he went up to a start, but I think he stopped
nice.
at a factory to get a Cyclone.
Gets a snipe, tries to go for the Cyclone. He's actually going to get it. But loses a lot of his Reapers to do that.
It might have been worth it if he was still building Reapers, but now he's going to lose all of his Reapers with the Hellion Continued is chasing. They're pretty weak. Grenades should be used to buy more time. I guess he doesn't have any more. I think he's going to lose all of them.
Looks like he was trying to block a little bit with that one,
Yeah.
that pulled back, but nope.
Well, the Cyclone's going to come and be able to execute a lot of these workers. Again, the Cyclone has a lot of health to work against
Wow.
these units nowadays. That ends up being pretty good. Of course, that Banshee could still be a problem coming now from Bjorn. I think it might have gone over the barracks. I'm not sure. Kelazur, I think, also got a scout on that.
Yeah, but
Starport in the main.
Cloakingfield is going to
Yeah.
finish in a second.
Of course.
And eBay only now starts. I'm not even sure. Is there a scan from Kelazur already?
There should be. That
Okay,
barracks
he's about
has
to have
been
one.
on top of that
If he
Starport.
misses that, oh no. He's going to lose the Cyclone.
He is. There's no way he's going to be able to escape now.
And there is another one about to come out, but he's going to be in a little bit. And now his wall's going to be exposed. That SCV is most certainly going to die. That's building a starport there, which obviously is bad.
Oh god, yeah, that's. I mean, oh no, he just called out a mule. I guess because he figured the missile turret would be done just in time. The Cyclone should have been able to buy a couple more seconds, but it still wasn't out. So now that it's out, the cloak is ready, and he's going to be losing too many SCVs. He was already making up for a lot in this game.
Oh wow, he moves at the last second as well here. Only one single shot from the turret was fired.
This is probably going to be game. Kelazur might have had room to lose 2 SCVs like max, but he hasn't been in a bad position for quite some time. He tried to do something clever. He tried to build Reapers so that hopefully Bjorn wouldn't notice and maybe would have like these really weak defensive units back at home, but that didn't really work out, and he has to lift his barracks, and there it is. There's the tap out.
Bjorn takes game number 1 here for South Korea against Brazil. And that was a nice hold. Little bit scrappy. I guess
Sure.
not the most convincing, not like an easy win or something, but he did the job, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. It did its job. I mean, the Cyclone over the Hellion, it like really solidifies your position again because it has so much health. If you get a Hellion, even 2 or even 3 Hellions actually, the grenades just become too much if you're not killing the Reapers.
Let's take a look at a replay here. That was the moment when, actually, I think that was quite bad. At first, like it looked like he was trading, but losing all of the Reapers. I guess
Yeah.
maybe they have like kind of like an expiration time at which they start
Certainly.
becoming more and more useless. And I guess because he lost all of the Reaper, he felt like he was forced to send the Cyclone in, which he then lost and wasn't ready to defend against the Banshee.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the Cyclone might have been able to make it back home to have a defensive setup against the Banshee, but as we saw before that moment, it died in the middle of the map. So, I mean, that's kind of what happens when you 3x Reaper and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And of course, you would expect someone like Bjorn to, well, not just like, be ready for that build, but also just in general, it's not unlikely they go for a one-base build anyway. And unless they add that reactor on the barracks, it's a very good defense against 3x Reaper. So
I wonder why Kelazur came out first. Like if you think about it, like if he's the actual ace by far of his team, he should maybe wait to try and see like,
Yeah.
what map he could pick or something. Oh, that's a great edit right there. Korea team activation protocol, Brazil. You've been targeted for termination.
That's pretty good, actually. Let's see here. I've heard Patak was coaching Brazilian team for their match versus Korea, Kappa. Gun and Zest, cool. I heard they're decent players. That was actually a really good day on the Starcraft Reddit, not going to lie. All the memes that came out for that.
I love the meme photos like this.
Yeah, I'm surprised they even found a picture of them.
Ready to cheer for my country. #SweWin. Yeah, looking forward to that one later. I know that actually a lot of Swedes love to watch
yeah.
the Swedish players in action and hope to see them do well.
That is an old
That's
picture of
photoshopped
Bjorn.
or not?
No, that's just an old picture of Bjorn.
Really? Oh my
yeah.
god.
From like the Prime Team house.
Why is he so happy washing dishes?
I have no idea.
Bjorn truly is the people's champ.
He is, yes. Someone that everyone can relate to.
All right, we're going to find out in a second who the next player from Brazil is going to be that comes out. But yeah, I was alluding to Kelazur maybe being saved and used later. That's a bit strange that he came out first. I guess maybe they thought like there was a good chance, I think maybe Zest or something was going to come out, in which case he would have tried to go for like the first snipe to open with some momentum. But
yeah, certainly it can be hard to guess who's going to come out from a team that is full of all killers, you know, like, so I don't know about that guesswork, but he does have the revive later, and I almost am sure they're going to be using it on Kelazur.
who do you think? I think Eric.
I'm going to guess Master just because. Just you guess Eric. It's Eric.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Kerazo mentioned he was practicing with him, right?
Yeah.
Because there's 2 Terrans on the Korean team, so that's what I cheated. You know, like,
Yeah,
I knew it was going to be Eric. So Newkirk Precinct going to be our map.
Okay. For our TVZ, Eric is a Zerg player. So, I mean, it's good that they've practiced specifically when knowing that the Terran players, of course, are more likely to be sent out and having to play against. But Eric's not to be, like, really good ZVT.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good to have good ZVT against Kelazur, but I also wonder, because Kelazur can sometimes play very differently, and if Innovations can play Cyclones, then I don't think Kelazur could replicate that.
Starting in the bottom left-hand side. I don't know if you watch BlizzCon, but he's going to have to play really well. He's facing the world champion, Bjorn.
And in the bottom right, as the blue Terran, he is Bjorn.
Actually, that was the worst intro. I didn't even say his name.
I
That was
like,
Eric.
Did he? Can't remember, but yeah, I might have said Innovation on accident. Of course, Bjorn is playing right now, and he did showcase Innovation's Cyclone build in his last appearance on Nation Wars, and that actually got him killed versus Patak, so I'm not sure if he's so eager to show that again.
Only innovation can do an innovation.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I am innovation.
Yeah, exactly.
The highlight of I am Yonki.
Yeah. I wish I'd seen that live, man. Like, getting there was actually a big pain, especially for only one match. Got there at the very end of the finals and was like, yeah.
Bjorn is really good against Zerg, but not quite invincible. Actually, at the Intel Extreme Masters Gyeonggi, he did lose to Dark.
That's true.
So, I guess Eric, if he plays as good as Dark, maybe can win. Like.
Yeah, right? He also lost against Sue in the Aleem League finals at a cast in Korea. It was about 2 months ago. So this is really just saying that Bjorn can lose, not that he has a weakness versus
I don't know if I
Zerg.
would go as far as being like, oh, what a noob.
Yeah, exactly. Now, and he does it. Okay, so here's the thing about Bjorn. This has always been the thing that I've seen, anyways, casting him online. This was some offline tournaments as well. But like, if he does his 2-1-1, and this is Bjorn's build, that's the unbeatable Bjorn that everyone knows. If he tries anything else, like a Cyclone build or a Hellbat push, he just isn't as good with it. It's kind of weird. Like, he can mix it up, but I really rather he doesn't. So seeing the bread and butter 2-1-1, I feel very bad for Eric.
Eric, you can tell he's been practicing with Kelazur. You see that second overlord going all the way through the top on the top left-hand side, making sure there was no proxy or anything. He's like, yeah, I'd rather be safe than sorry there.
Yeah. Well, of course, I was bringing up Kelazur and his style of the TVZ. Like, he does actually have a 3-Rax Reaper, but I don't think he would have been practicing that against Eric, as the Koreans are far less likely to do 3-Rax Reaper, and Bjorn, I don't think, ever really was a fan of that much. But, of course, it's also has to do the server and all that, so you see Eric didn't really take that as a threat.
There's a bit of a supply block. Like, it feels like these overlords. Also, he made 2 here, Eric. Let's see what he gets with this, because there is an Evo on the way.
Yeah, that's a pretty early evolution chamber. I mean, if you can get Bjorn kind of like off of his game, because for the first 6 minutes of a TVZ, the Terran really isn't anticipating having anything done to them. Maybe the 2 Link go across the map and kill that SCV, but that's really it. So usually Bjorn just has to stay like watching his main base. If you can change it up a little bit with like a Overlord drop, that might be a way to get into his head, but it's not going to be an Overlord drop, at least not yet. It's actually just a super early +1 Carapace.
Interesting here, getting some defense upgrade very early on. Usually you'd see melee a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's actually like even more of like ZVP. Like ZVT really, if you're going to play Needling, Blink, especially, or I guess Ling, Baneling, and then whatever else you want to do, it really has been figured up until again those like 6-7 minutes, and that's like you're going to go for the double upgrades.
Yeah, do you think this might be an indicator he wants to go for roaches, in which case both units benefit from the carapace? Because if you're not gonna play, actually that second Evo's there, so no, I guess that's for a later melee.
That's possible. He also might be just indicating that he really wants to skyrocket up to like ultras if he only upgraded his carapace, but this is just odd timings on the evolution chambers, so I'm not really sure. The +1's also not going to be quite ready by the time Bjorn hits. Bjorn is, of course, very good with his timing on the 2-1-1, and he should be just going over right now. There's the pickup and unload. I guess if he buys a little bit of time with creep spread, maybe he'll have that +1.
Yeah, and Eric also, like, he's making links at the exact right time. He knows that this is coming. He's placing overlords all across the place. I love the way he's doing it, but these overlords actually could be caught here in a second and sniped.
that actually might have been worth if Bjorn didn't think he could... Okay, well, actually, so Bjorn is going to go for the Overlord snipes. I mean, Bjorn could have just been thinking, like, who's this Eric kid? Like, I'm just going to kill him with my first 2 drops and just, like, ignore the Overlords completely. But
That's an interesting way to buy time. Sacrifice Overlords.
I guess it technically worked, and now with that, plus having to clean up creep spread, he could be waiting for his +1 Carapace to finish, but instead he just pounces on top of the Marines. Good focus fire on the Queens, too, but Bjorn just right to that main base, where I don't think there's any more Queens in there.
Yeah, they're going to take forever to come back as well and defend in that location, so he kind of leaves them outside of the area. And I think he's hoping that Bjorn will fly there, in which case he's going to try to catch it. One of those medivacs is going to be targeted immediately, and he actually gets out with it.
Not bad.
Did the Reaper... Actually, the Reaper is harassing the drones on that third. Because there is no Queen at all. Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Bjorn on point here with everything here.
It's a little awkward by Eric, so he cleans that up, and this isn't a bad defense. I think those Spore Crawlers should be cancelled. They're just made so the Reaper didn't kill him. It's not bad to leave one, of course, like in the main base, but there's Bjorn adding on a third medevac full of Marines, catches all of the Queens while they're trying to spread that creep. Now Ling's just late to the party.
And he gets 2 of them here for free. Ends up getting out of there, not losing anything. And behind this, he can start on posturing forward that around that third base at the top side, and with the new reinforcements, either attack into that natural or creep spread to make sure he can deny that, or drop towards the main, which I think Eric is very wary of. He's already got a Spore in the main. He's going to go for a Spine as well.
It's already a little bit worrying. So, I mean, his Ling surrounds have been decent. His Queen's focus firing has been good. Like, that's not so much of a worry, but I feel like soon enough he's going to really start feeling it in the macro department. Bjorn did go for double upgrades. He went for the third CC. He's catching up on those upgrades, too, even though Eric went for his own fast ones. And just, it feels like his drone count's been a little too low for a little too long. Trying to make up for that right now, but still having these Marines on the edge of his creep must not feel very, very safe.
Eric's doing a very good job of not letting Bjorn deny the creep here, but it's affected his walker count greatly because he's making a lot of links, trading some of them, not really sniping too many of those Marines at all, because Bjorn every single time picks up on time and pulls back. But that creep spread, I have to say, is looking pretty good here so far. That main base very exposed though. Nice Spine that's going to buy some time, but he needs to start splitting perfectly as well against this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Spore! Oh!
That Spore Crawler is pretty good hero right there. That Queen almost gets a couple of the last hits on that medevac too. Nice drop defense.
He only lost the Spine, I guess.
Yeah. That Spine ended up being pretty worth it. Eric, he's actually dealing with this perfectly fine with just mass Lings. And say adding in a couple of Banelings just in case they start collecting all the Marines and all the drops together would be pretty safe. But instead of making Banelings, he of course adds up his upgrades, so +2 melee on the way.
You forgot +2 Carapace.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see that since he had such a like the opener kind of depended on the +1 Carapace.
Yeah, that's a pretty fast spire as well. A lot of Zergs who kind of stay on Zergling Bane for a long time, and then later at this, like we're also theorizing that he might go straight into Ultras. Not going to be the case there.
Yeah.
And that attack is going to be very scary. If you look at the army supply, Bjorn's been pumping out a ton of units. He's getting counter-attacked with
a
huge
really
Zergling run by. Nicely done here by Eric, who's going to also engage into this huge bio with a lot of Banelings. Bjorn not picking up on time.
That's actually pretty nice. I was really worried those Widow Mines get some great hits on Eric's army, and they got some decent ones, but pushes Bjorn pretty far back. That counterattack killed 10 SCVs. This Liberator might be able to do some damage. Unfortunately, there's no Spore Crawl at the third base, but that is still a lot of Marines on the front line, and Eric did lose a lot of his army and was unable to replace it quick enough.
He did a lot of things well, but Bjorn's macro and his micro together just too scary there. He's starting to pull very far ahead in supply, and Eric down to his last few forces. He had 28 army supply to 75.
Yeah. Of course, also trying to bank up for those Metalisk right now. I could probably get 6, and that's not really enough to do very much at all. Maybe get the last hits on the medevacs here, but certainly not threaten a counterattack or help these against these Marines, which soon enough we're going to have 2-2. Oh, and unfortunately the Widow Mines weren't cleaned up. No Overseer. That's a pretty big mistake, actually, having an Overseer.
Not being able to mine from, like, already losing the 4th is quite bad, but not being able to mine from that 3rd base for such a long time. Eric's supply is going to plummet so far behind Bjorn's at this point.
That's huge dip in the income graph. Yeah, this is kind of what I was afraid of, just eventually that Bjorn's macro would start to really squash Eric. He looked pretty good with that counterattack, but just did not take enough of a good fight.
He has so much gas because he wasn't mining minerals for a long time.
Yeah, too. Yeah, and I mean, again, this is like all supposed to, I think, ideally go into Mutalisk, but instead he had to make as many lanes as possible to hold on.
Zombie grub.
What? It's a pretty bad supply. Azur can probably hold on maybe 20 supply down with creep spread and, you know, surround and all that, but 40, 50, that's going to have to be Bjorn just not microing anymore.
Yeah, and he's got a huge chunk of army at the top, knocking those debris down to move into that base that's being left unprotected here at this point, because all those forces of Eric were around that fourth base. But I think that just might be too much here. And I mean, it's cute to go for the Zergling counterattacks like this, but Bjorn has enough reinforcements at home to get rid of that quite easily as well.
Yeah. Kills another fourth base. Of course, you could kill every single base. Eventually, he's going to have to face Eric's very, very tiny, not well upgraded armies. He did not ever get that +2 carapace, and Eric just is still depending on Lings, and not very many of them. Oh, he remembered his +2 carapace at the very least, but still has a very useless Spire in the main base. Starting to bank quite a lot. I think his larva's really starting to get hit here.
I like the way Eric played this game. It just feels like he's not in the same class of player here as Bjorn is.
Sure. Well, like even, you know, Sue or Dark can look not in the same class. They've died against Bjorn's 2/1/1's first 2 drops occasionally. Like Bjorn is just super good at this matchup, and you really have to have a perfect macro game if that's how you're going to play against Bjorn, which Eric started off things weird anyway. Like I don't want to say it was a mistake or they had nerves to get such an early +1, but certainly wasn't the perfect macro game.
And now Eric is kind of stuck on lair tech without a fourth base, whereas Bjorn's taking his quite easily. I think he knocked down the debris maybe at the top right. I see a couple units there, yeah, to make sure no Zerglings could go through that path. 105 army supply to 45, 3-3 on the way.
Oh
and
god.
Not stopping anytime soon here.
I thought that Widowman was going to reach. That would have been quite bad. Yeah, Bjorn's macro looks totally on point. Has a lot more barracks on the way, and that 3-3. There's actually not much else Bjorn has to do or add on to his army right here. Maybe a couple more Widow Mines, but his splits should be good enough. Eric's army is just so small. And finally, all that creep spread that was helping him has been just completely nullified.
It's so funny, Bjorn has such a hard time shutting down the creep spread for the entire start, and right now he's like, where's your creep spread now? He just like removed everything.
Everything is off the map. I guess there's a couple more to the north there protecting the third base, but really not a lot to work with for Eric. I guess stay in the game as long as you have Banelings available, maybe get a lucky hit. But
Bjorn's playing is super safe as well, like just scanning, making sure there's no Baneling bomb. He sees the entire army, almost triple the army supply right now. He's going to move in there and finish this off. Eric even looking to counter with most of his army.
Yeah, that is most of his army. 15 Banelings gonna roll in, hit most of the Marauders. I mean, some good connection to do with Marines, but still 100 supply down. Counterattack kills a couple SCVs. GG. At least Eric can say that he killed, what, 20 SCVs?
He lasted longer than most players would against Bjorn.
Yeah. That's kind of what he has to take away for that. But unfortunately, that does make Brazil down 2 games against the unstoppable Bjorn. Not totally unexpected, but not looking so hot for them.
Let's take a look at a replay there between these two. That was, I thought the defense here was pretty good. Like, he got some decent connections, but a lot of those Marines ended up pulling just right outside the area where it's going to be very dangerous. And so many Widow Mines were left over here behind this as well. Like, basically the supply from Bjorn kept on increasing and Eric's kept on decreasing the whole game.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, after the first, like, good, decent defense, when he had that counterattack set up as well, you know, he dips down, like, 20 to 50 army supply. Like, okay, but he never really remade it, which was, like, the #1 problem. He invested into upgrades. He had enough minerals and gas to start his meter production, but instead felt a desperate need to make Lings, which wasn't wrong, but it just put him in a bad position.
All right, I think we're going to find out in a second how the vote is going. There is only one player left to come out, which is Master.
Yep.
And keep voting about who you think is going to win, even though I'm pretty sure. Actually, to be honest, they are trolling for the most part, right? Like yesterday, everybody was voting Taiwan, so...
Yeah,
look, 69% Korea and 31% Brazil.
Some people have some belief, I guess, in, well, what is now going to be the revival of Kelazur. But
Brazilians are watching.
Yeah, or Brazilians are watching, exactly. South Korea looks pretty strong.
So Master going to be coming out then, up next.
Protoss player.
Against Bjorn. Going to be tough.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. Bjorn has had a weakness versus Protoss in the past, but I'm talking weaknesses against, like, you know, Zest and Stats. And
he did lose to Showtime at BlizzCon, so...
That's true.
Showtime, though. Like, if you were going to try to emulate that Colossus style. And also, like, it was weird because Showtime won in the tournament, but then they practiced backstage, and I heard it went pretty well for Bjorn, so, like... Yeah, it's very hard. Like, it kind of felt like a one-time thing. Like, not to take anything away from Showtime. He's an amazing player. So we're going to go to a break, and then when we come back, it's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. Bjorn against Master. You're watching Nation Wars 4 with Korea against Brazil.
Hello and welcome back to Nation Wars, Starcraft 2 Nation Wars 4th edition. This is Brazil versus Korea, and at the moment, Brazil is still looking for its attack.
Yeah,
right?
it's looking for its attack.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That's the way I see it. Like, to be honest, we just have Master remaining in the Brazilian lineup before, of course, the revive. But we're still looking for that win, like to see if those Koreans are actually beatable. You know?
Well, yeah. Of course, we know that they can be beat by some people, but Brazil is looking for their person to beat South Korea. And, of course, they have to do it, well, unless Master can do it, I suppose, at least
I've got faith.
4 times.
I've got faith in Master. I know he's going to have some cheeky builds to try and get Bjorn out of his way. Deng Shrine says, "Shh, don't tell the boss." And P.S. always revive Nate for America, obviously. America making it to the round of 8. This is not the case for any of those teams here in this group yet. Group Korea. This is the first best of 7 of the night. There will be 3, the opening matches and then the winners match. And at the moment, we said it's Echo needs to be the map that Master actually does something about the monster that is Bjorn.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's going to do, to be honest. Like, we don't know a lot about Master. He's informed in like a ton of online cups. And we tried to get something from Kelazur, and he just said that, he had faith. But I don't think you're going to be on an interview and be like, Master, yeah, he's going to lose. And like Master's listening is like, oh,
No, you
bad,
shouldn't
man.
do that. Of course, the poops have been typed in the chat. We always love that humor coming from that guy in the bottom right. He is the Blue Terran, BlizzCon champion, GSL champion. He has it all. He is Bjorn. Playing for Team Experts.
And in the top left, as the red Protoss for Brazil, he is Master.
I've got Masters of Puppets in my head ever since I heard about this
Masters
guy's
of
nickname.
Puppets?
Master of Puppets, Metallica. You don't know that song?
I had a feeling it was going to be a Metallica song.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know you that well, but just like, I bet that's going to be a song.
Yeah, of course.
No.
And you should listen to it. And if this guy actually has the same power as the riffs in Master of Puppets, I know that he can do something. He went for that gate nexus, got a build order, so nothing too crazy, nothing out of the ordinary. He's not going to take the aggressive path to try and get Bjorn a little bit worried. He's just going to play that straight up macro game. We've seen Kelazur trying the aggressive route. Looked kind of okay for a moment, but then like Bjorn returned to his own self and just out microed the hell out of Kelazur in a way.
Yeah, I think it was just too predictable. Like Beyond didn't have the SEV scout still be prepared for something like that, as long as his build was okay, and it obviously was. And yeah, it was just. I really wish that Kelazur hope that if he is revived, or expecting to be revived, that he does a macro game, because I think it'll be a really exciting TBT. But first, this PBT, and right, Master not throwing down any cheeses. There was one possibility, you try and at least get some early aggression to maybe throw Bjorn off. But as he doesn't do any cheese, I'd actually say it's a little bit worrisome for that Bjorn might have done something, as Bjorn in the past has been a little wary of Protosses. Like, doesn't actually want to take it to the super late game, but of course Bjorn himself also went for the Rax expand, which Master's able to scout.
Interestingly enough, he went for that second extractor quite fast beyond that is to get a little bit more gas going on. He's got the factory finishing up in the starport right now. Reaper just comes in and checks in, looks a little bit around, sees the number of probes, sees the first unit coming out from that gateway, and will just go back. He doesn't want to give it away, probably wants to do a little bit more scouting. Actually going to go to the main. Just a tiny bit, just a tease.
JK.
Yeah, joking. Yeah, probably baiting a potential pylon that would be there.
Yeah.
And now it comes. The pylon is here now. Robo will be the first choice from Master. So I guess, like, really, the really passive routes. And I'm not sure I really enjoy that kind of strategy against a player such as Beyond. That Reaper will get the scout on the Robo and even on the Twilight, I think. Yeah, he's seen the Twilight in the top.
Yeah.
I don't know if he clicked on it, but considering he started, to try to destroy probes, I guess he already clicked on it, you know.
Plus, with the Widowmine job coming up now, if you really weren't sure where that second tech structure was, or if they even had any tech, the Widowmine job should have been able to scout that. But as he did see it with the Reaper, there's no reason to really leave your Widowmine at home, which if you're worried, you might do, and he's just going to take everything and go to the other side of the map. We'll see how much damage this does. If Master wants to play this slow, steady build-up of a Protoss game, then, like, more power to him. It could be possible that he gets to a late game situation where his army is just, it looks unbeatable. It's not unbeatable, but it looks unbeatable. But it's actually going to be a dark shrine Shrine first.
Alright, Dark Shrine before any tech coming out from that Twilight, so no blink, no charge, no resonating glaive, and he will have to defend that drop without blink and without a pylon in his back, in the back of his mineral line. So now those Marines are getting unloaded, the mine is already burrowed, they will connect with one loading pool, actually two, get the snipe on the third one, and yeah, keeps on fighting because at the moment the Stalkers don't have the DPS to kill those Marines behind the medevac right there.
Yeah. Not a bad hold yet. Of course, having a pylon in the back, the natural would have helped a little bit there too. Now the Militia Corps is out of position. She really obviously did not help very much, so she should have been up here, but it wasn't too late to the party, and Bien didn't even bother trying.
Yeah, that actually surprises me, I guess, a little bit. That Widow Mine is actually going to load up with another Widow Mine that he built previously, and he's seen the Dark Shrine, so he knows and he's building the turrets that he needs to. And at the moment, Master is terribly out of position. He didn't check that for that mine, and boom! 8 probes is about the most you can get with one Widow Mine, and he did it, and now takes a fight up the ramp, will get a Stalker probably. Yeah, the target firing is actually going on right now, and obviously the micro is beautiful. Just stop that, man.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Okay. No, he's going to continue. I was really worried he was going to get the Mothership Core. I think he really wants another Stalker, but of course that War Prism did go across.
Oh my god, Beyond is styling on him. Master is not having a good time at all. Oh, he will get it! He will get the last Stalker, and those Marines, they will keep on fighting. There's still energy on that medevac.
This is amazing, but the DTs actually were unloaded, and he did not see the Dark Shrine. He did have a cautionary turret in the natural, though, but my god. So he evens up the workers killed, but then he loses Stalkers to a handful of Marines.
Yeah, Marines in the early game, I think people usually underestimate them quite a bit, but they actually deal quite a bit of damage, and Stalkers, they don't DPS that much, so yeah, Marines will not die. And if you do a combo with, you know, some Beyond Macro, like in the end you've got Marines that will kill like a billion of units before getting taken down. So really good early game from Beyond, but as you mentioned, those two DTs, they did die in the end, I think.
Yeah.
But they did a little bit of damage. Is the Prism still alive? Yeah. Losing both DTs and the Prism makes it a little bit tougher.
It's really quite bad he lost the War Prism. Of course, it's really bad that he lost the DTs as well, but the War Prism could at least threaten something, so Beyond would have to stay at home maybe a little bit longer or leave something back at home. Just being able to push like this, tie him up with his +1, or his, not +1, his stim rather. He's getting a Raven too, so no defensive, cheeky, you know, DT warpin's gonna happen. Beyond, I don't know if he's gonna win with this push. Doesn't have a lot of medevacs to heal, and it's still kind of a small army, but he does have the power to at least kill those sentries, and if Master is really out of position, could possibly take care of the Stalkers as well, because of course they don't have Blink. He opted for a Dark Shrine, not Twilight upgrades.
We'll see if Beyond actually makes it before the timing on the Blink. It should be over in about 30 seconds. Those sentries, they don't see the army yet, and he's gonna stim and just right-click. Those sentry, the hog strategy coming from Beyond is like, this thing is about to die, this thing is about to die, and now walks up the ramp on the natural. Doesn't get the Immortal, but the tanks is sieged up, the Raven is just here chilling. Even the Viking could land to help the party, and this is not looking like a Patak performance from Masters.
He really didn't have that bad of an army to meet that, but he needed 2 pylons in the middle there. He needed, of course, to actually be paying attention, seeing the army coming, as those first fills were very late. I don't even did he even pop a Guardian Shield, but regardless, yeah, definitely was missing some key defensive elements and lost way too much of that push right there.
Yeah, and this resources last tab is actually not looking good at all for our Brazilian player. Actually going to try to come up the ramp, will blink on the tank, but getting a lot of damage from those Marines, and that auto turret actually killed 2 Stalkers on its own. And this is a Protoss that has to go back. The Immortal will get his shield triggered. Will probably save it with the Prism. Nice. Master actually taking a little bit of the fight towards Beyond, getting 2 medivacs and the Raven.
He really isn't like doing that bad of a job, right? But it's just it's like not quite there, and it all started, of course, with the Widow Mine drop that killed 8 of his workers. So Beyond still ahead, of course, in army, still ahead in upgrades. I don't even think Master has a forge yet.
I don't think he does either. Yeah, no, not researching anything. And yeah, it doesn't have a forge. Only 7 gateways. That's a fight that he should take, and he should take now. Is he going to blink on it? Now that the Widow Mine just burrowed, he will split a little bit. That's the Adept that took the shot, and that's almost a decent fight. Now the mine connects to 2 sentries, so it means that he's losing a lot of important gas units. Even the Prism could get chased out. Oh, it will be okay, but he will lose the Immortal. Not doing the micro trick that he needed to. Yeah, sentry will get saved.
Oh, barely saves that War Prism with a Sentry in it. A good blink forward, too. I mean, just again, like, imagine if nothing really had gone catastrophically wrong earlier. Like, he had saved the War Prism. He had not... he had been prepared for the attack, where he just didn't have his sentries ready to go. Like, his control of his army has actually been pretty good, and his judgment on engagements has been pretty good as well, but it is still beyond macroing very strongly. He's not been disturbed by any more DT harassment. He's just been on full-on attack mode.
Yeah.
And it's going to work eventually. It is only Blink Stalkers.
Exactly, Blink Stalkers, and you need to have that amazing micro to make it, a decent fight. That was a cute scan, actually, from Bjorn, trying to get that Observer out of the way, because he's got a lot of Widow Mines. One will burrow and probably connect. Can he dodge it? He will actually fight instead in the middle of all those Marauders and the friendly fire on the Medivacs first, and then on the Marauders, and Master will push that attack away. He needs to drop forges. He needs to do something to go along in that macro game department, because soon that Terran player is going to be 2-1.
I feel like every single time he's taken a good engagement, he's blinked forward aggressively, hoping that he was going to catch like a very small amount of rallied units, and then be able to snowball beyond that. But it just never really happened. It's always been like 4 or 5 Marauders with a couple of Medivacs. There's just too much for him to deal with.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad. There's been opportunities for him and some really decent fights, and especially considering Bjorn has been on a never-ending aggression ever since the beginning of this game, and now he's just rallying units and using his bio units to just kill out all those stalkers. No high-tech units from the Protoss player, and it's gonna be a little bit too much to handle. Bjorn will take his 3rd win in a row in a couple of seconds, getting the stalkers just warping in at the moment, and one more stim. No energy on those Medivacs, but I don't think Bjorn cares. He just wants this game to be over.
Yeah, Master trying really hard to do some magic with Blink Stalkers. If they ever got to a critical mass or they had better upgrades, okay, maybe. Bjorn has been, in different games, this would have been maybe too aggressive and he'd been making a mistake, but not this game. This game has just been him always like 40, 50 army supply up. And he's just looking for I think he's more looking for Masters to tap out than he is for him actually start killing buildings. But
yeah.
Masters being quite stubborn.
Yeah,
so,
super stubborn, and a pretty nice time warp right there, but not gonna be enough. The 2-1 will kick in a few seconds. The Widow Mines will burrow. Liberator sieged up. That's a dead Nexus and a dead Master. 3-0. Ouch.
Ouch. And an almost dead Brazil, too.
Yeah.
So we're just going to check out the replay, but then after that, we're going to see who they're going to revive. Which part of the game we're going to look at here? Looks like, is it going to be the Marine micro? Oh, there's the micro.
I mean, the targeting was really nice, and being, in the middle of both, little mineral patches makes it that you can get those 8 kills. And look at this. This is just disgusting. No Marines died in that sequence. Finally, he gives one away, but picks up the other, and we'll get that Stalker, and it's not even ended. It will keep on going. This Marine will be saved. A little bit of boosting action in a couple of seconds, and that's a dead Stalker. The Marines are not even dead, and that's the moment that the DTs will actually, strike. We want to see another Widow Mine drop now. This time, that's kind of the disrespectful attack, I guess. You're like, I know he's not going to be looking here at this instance, and I will take a fight that I shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. Pouncing upon an army like that, but especially if you see there's not any pylons, then I think it's a little more warranted too. But it definitely was also I think you're not paying attention. Let's snipe some of these sentries, and at least if things really start to go badly, you just kind of leave. And sentries still a good unit to kill, but also ended up killing most of the army.
Those are ones of the greatest units to kill, I think. I think that what would be your ranking of the greatest unit to kill as a Terran player?
Colossus with 2
Okay, you
Marauders.
like Colossus? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I like Vikings in TVT. I like, obviously, Mutalisk. Mule is dying to Marines or Widow Mines. Just amazing, guys.
That's true.
Just amazing. Ravens, kind of cool. RSTV says, Bjorn, please stop.
Yeah, we were telling him to stop. We were asking on behalf of Master to stop microing his Marines, but
leave him alone.
Didn't want to.
He's just a boy. Come watch the first major speedrunning event of 2017. I was like, did we mess that up? No, okay. Obviously, this is Wax Angel with the witty tweets. Thank you, guys. Just keep them coming. #NationWars4 NW4. We expect Killazur.
Yes.
He's the guy that actually can make a difference against somebody like Beyond, I guess. And then, I guess you take one game after the other, right?
Yeah,
You don't want to think about... I'm gonna beat Beyond and then probably Innovation and Beyond again, or like it's just awful.
Tall order. I think you think first, like, I'm gonna take this TVT, and then they're gonna like release the next expansion to be like, oh, darn it, I forgot that they had that player, and then you do it again after that, and then again after that. That's almost impossible, but Kelazur, if he is the revive, I guess he's kind of feel up to the task. So,
and we would get a cheeky TVT, which actually makes me super happy because that's one of my favorite matchup ever. So 6 seconds until we know, guys. In 4 seconds, 3 seconds. Who's this guy? This is Kelazur. Right, of course.
Yeah.
The heavy hitter from Brazil will try his luck again. So first game, if you guys weren't here, triple Rax Reaper. Sick micro from Kelazur, to be honest. But on the opposite side of the spectrum, you've got Beyond. It's like, I could lose to this on Vanny Research Station. This is highly popular. We know that Kelazur loves his Reaper. Goes for the build that reactively can defend against the triple Rax Reaper. Goes for the gas first. And the addition, like, even though, like, Kelazur sniped the SCV build in the factory twice. That was super nice. And then you kind of feel like pressured, I guess, as the Terran player that defends the triple Rax Reaper, but still goes for the Cyclone. Takes a little bit more time to build, but also almost unkillable by Reaper.
Yeah, almost.
Right?
Yeah, basically. I mean, you have to have like 5 Reapers all targeting it down as a single unit to actually kill a Cyclone. In its current form, back in the day, of course, it'd take like 2 Reapers. Just like a micro.
It's funny to think, like, before I used to think that the Cyclones were made of the same paper as the Vikings, right?
Yeah,
like, they used to die so fast. But at some point it changed. It's like, actually now it's a really beefy unit, you know. It's really hard to take down. Daybreak will be the map for our TVT. It will be Overgrowth, actually, as it's been telling me in my area. Okay. Now you see what Overgrowth looks like. I would have liked the other map better for TVT, but that's not of me to, to decide.
Well. I was going to say, if it's Daybreak, I would have loved to see like something super old school, like a Proxy Marauder, but that hasn't been done in months, if not like a year at this point. But anyway,
you can still get a cheeky win on ladder with it.
I feel like you can. Yeah, exactly.
People get super annoyed by the proxy racks.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's going to be Overgrowth, so we'll see what happens here. If Kelazur's thinking about proxying, nope, he is not, and he is spawning in the bottom left on Overgrowth as the Red Terran. It's Kelazur.
The almighty double intro.
Yeah.
It's Kelazur.
Perfect.
Top right. He is Terran. He is blue. He's a god. 3-0 under his belt at the moment, and it is Beyond. Or as he nicknames himself on the American server, Speak Now. And now says that he's gonna poop 4 times on the Brazilian team. I guess that's what it means.
I like that he shorthanded it too, like ×4.
Yeah.
Beyond's learning all the really important, emotes in StarCraft.
All right, Kelazur, you need to do something. You need to defend your honor.
I think he will. So we do have both players going for a 1-base opener, which I'd say it not only makes sense if they're all worried about proxies, which I don't think, again, like the second game these guys have played, I don't know if it's really on top of either one of their minds, but it's also just a good opener. It really felt like with the new patch of Legacy of the Void as well, that 1-base really became the chosen build over even the 1-Rax Expand, which is also kind of a bread and butter build. And the reason I figured it would happen was because the Starport has been just heavily upgraded in general, but of course definitely in terms of TVT. So especially as both players are known for the micro and for their aggression, not too surprised. I would actually not be too surprised either if Kelazur was thinking he could still beat him in a micro game. So he tried the Proxy Reaper thing, but that is also somewhat determined on the build of your opponent. Whereas if you go for the exact same build, like down to the exact same units, you can still believe in your micro.
As mirror as you can get, actually, to be honest. Look at the production tab. It's actually a little bit sexy, I would say. That's a weird word to use, but look at this. Like they follow the exact same build order, which also means, as you mentioned, there was a difference in build. It was a micro game, the first one also, but this time this is like, let's produce a lot of units on 1 base and see who can outplay the other one with lots of tools that are available thanks to the 1-1-1. You can do so many things as Terran with those 3 buildings and lots of different tactical units and unit placements. We can see the Cyclone and the Reaper on top of the ramp, split the second Reaper, and Beyond will actually get the Scout and see the follow-up Banshee with Cloak. So really, really cool Scout here from Beyond, and actually turning into Probably killing 2 SCVs. This is tough. At the opposite side of the map, it's actually gonna fight.
Yeah, I don't know. This is actually a little bit dangerous by Beyond, but it was also just a mistake by Kelazur. He had that Hellion pop out, should have taken care of the Reaper immediately, but he was maybe thinking, okay, he has one less Reaper. I should just put all my units into the attack, which, I don't know, like the Hellion wasn't going to get there that quick. He still takes a better trade overall, I suppose, 2 Reapers to 1 Reaper and an SCV. He did lose a lot of mining time having to pull the SCVs like he did, but if he had a follow-up, if he was still attacking into him, maybe that Raven was out, the Widowmine wasn't out, it might be a snowball situation, but things are probably going to calm down here.
Yeah, I guess we'll see a Raven just after the Banshee, and that first Banshee is actually going to try and attack and cross the map, and I don't think that's a really good answer considering how scouted it was. We'll see that Widowmine burrowing, so we'll dodge it, but that's just dangerous, and I feel like this Banshee is just about to die, and I wish I was just, waited a little bit and went for the attack a little bit later, maybe with 2 Banshees. He might not. That auto turret just, hits so strong.
Yeah, I don't know why he
hits like a truck.
The auto turret is amazing. Like the Raven first defense is it's definitely trumped the Viking first defense. But I don't know why he took that engagement. Kelazur has some good micro. He has some good reads on small battle situations, which makes him pretty good in early game TVT. But that was always going to go wrong as long as the auto turret was available.
You've been scouted. Just don't throw your Banshee away because I guess Beyond will always take the precautions needed, and as you mentioned, the Raven is so popular in TVT these days, considering how strong it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened. Threw the Banshee away, basically. Didn't get any kills done, and that's a little bit sad. Like, he could have waited a little bit, and maybe... that's what used to be Bunny's classic strategy. Wait for those 2 Banshees, delayed Banshees, and then you go and you attack both the bases at the same time. You're like, haha, your Raven can actually not duplicate itself and defend both locations. So
yeah, right. Yeah, I was also confused because it's the new Cyclone, which actually is kind of a lot harder to take down with the Banshee, and also doesn't kill the Banshee nearly as quickly if it has a lock on. So he probably could have ran away, but that's over and done with. We'll see if Kelazur makes up that little micro mistake with any more micro mistakes. I mean, it's going to be a pretty long game, I would say. We both have going to 3rd bases after all, with no significant army supply advantage on either side. It's going to be about positioning and any more micro that happens. So this Banshee. It's actually... Whoa. Okay,
Cancelled
I guess he just assumed the Banshee's going to stay there and he's way out of position.
Yeah, he built it again on his natural, so not going to go for that cheeky, weird, I cancel my CC and then go all in on 2 bases, which is not that popular anymore, obviously, because of Legacy of the Void and the way that minerals actually mine. That's there's not that many minerals, so you mine out faster. So goes back for that 3rd CC, but means that Kelazur has a slight advantage in that regard in terms of steam. He also has about 30-40 seconds ahead. I think he also built his barracks earlier, so just in general, I would say there is a couple more units. Can we take a look at the unit tab actually to see exactly what's the difference? Yeah, the 6 Vikings against the 13 Marines basically is the difference, and those Vikings will make it super hard for Kelazur to engage, especially because he's not going to have stim when this attack actually hits, I think. So at 3rd base, I can see it in the near future having to lift off.
It might have to. I'm actually very interested to see how this engagement is going to go, because if he can wait till stim finishes, and that's like a lift off and pull your RCVs for 30 seconds type deal, then his Marines would probably do better, get a good concave around these tanks and then take out the Vikings after that. This Banshee, unfortunately, not going to do too much, and he will have to lift the CC.
He needs to repair it. He needs to repair it. He needs to repair it super fast. Yeah, getting a little bit more SCVs to work on this one. At the opposite side, the Banshee is still active. Getting 2 SCVs, maybe a couple more if he decides to reset it somewhere else. But now, Liberator with those 6 Vikings. Super cute play. That tank will fall. Only 1 for Kelazur against the 2 of Beyond. And now he takes the positioning that makes you want to die in TVT.
Right? This is a pretty abusive position, but once again, Kelazur's army it's no slouch. With Stim, a concave can be really brutal, but he's not really getting that much of a concave. He wasn't a point defense turret, actually. That about the Vikings, but I don't know if that was actually that helpful. Still all clumped up with his Marines. Oh, dear Lord. That wasn't what I imagined at all. At least the Banshee comes in to try to be a hero, but a scan is available, and he doesn't take out that last tank. He still can't mine on his natural.
That's super sad, because those 3 auto turrets that Beyond throw out didn't deal that much damage. They were taken out super fast, but at the end of the battle, as you mentioned, Marines super clumped up in red health, just died to a couple of tank shots, and now... Well, that's the kind of position that you want to take down as soon as possible from your opponent, and actually Kelazur knows he can't remove it, and that's GG, and that's also 4-0.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like Roddy was right after all.
Did he bet 4-0?
He did. Well, he predicted 4-0.
Cheeky.
He actually bet on it, but then he said, like, we were going to be wrong, so I guess we were. But, like, man, I like that, the army positioning that you can get when you have stim a lot faster than your opponent can sometimes really just be better than having, like, tanks and Vikings. But Beyond got into that really good position, the one we see here, and Kellizer tried to go for the concave initially, and then just lost it right here, like 2 tanks, just obliterate those Marines.
The way I see it, I think he tried to target down probably the Liberator at some point, so basically all the Marines clumped up to get that target in range, and just after that the targeting from Beyond, I don't even know if he targeted like manually, but probably did because that's Beyond, and you target the middle Marine, and then suddenly everything blows up, and as I was trying to make a point by the time the game was finishing, is that position, you can literally die to it, and that's exactly what happened, and you need to take it out, and you need to remove your opponent as fast as possible, and that's what Kellizer did. Yeah. The instant steam was done, he tried to take back that position, but just didn't work out in the end, and trying to fight off like such an imbalanced position in general
kind of, yeah.
is just like you will trade poorly against a guy that's already ahead of you. So
yeah, he already had the position. You knew it was going to be tough to break it, but I think Kellizer looked at it and said, "Okay, I can actually break this. Like I have stim, I have a lot of Marines," and then everything went topsy turvy. Because I think if he thought, "There's no way I'm going to break this. This is too abusive a position," he might have tried to base trade instead, which I don't know how that would have gone. But that's why I think he actually. It's like, maybe even confident he could have taken that on.
Yeah.
Semi-confident, whatever you want to say. But didn't work out the way he was envisioning, and Beyond does take the all-kill.
Yeah, I guess that was a little bit expected in general. Like, I always feel like Korea drops games in the Nation War. So I literally, like, almost never say 4-0 for Korea because I know they tend to lose those games because of, server disparity. Maybe they, underestimate their opponents. There's a lot of reasons to it. But usually they do drop games. But today, just Beyond playing super solid with an amazing experience in playing online too. Like you need to understand like how much Beyond is a online machine.
Yeah,
he's a guy that can do that literally like for hours every day, and that showed today. Like he kept his cool and he kept his focus throughout those 4 games, and now he's already in the winners game. So that's obviously pretty cool for Korea, who's 1 step away for qualifying from to the round of 8. Sorry. Next thing is looking at the bracket right now, so you can see what I'm talking about. Korea 4-0, Brazil, and the next game, which should be way closer, and we'll talk about it a little bit when we actually launch that series, so we can take a look at the predictions and everything. But Canada versus Sweden, pretty sweet best of 7 in my opinion.
Yeah, I hope that's going to be pretty close. I know a lot of people say that Sweden would be the stronger of the 2 teams because Canada really is all about that. Look, a lot of people all about that star power of Scarlet, but I think Semper is also could surprise us. He only has to prepare for versus Zerg, and his TVZ has always been one of his best. So I actually have some faith in my northern neighbors, I suppose.
Well, if you have faith, just show it to us on Twitter. #CanWin, CAN, win if you believe that Canada will take that best of 7, and #SWE, win, Sweden wins if you believe that the Swedish will take this one. It will be just after a couple of minutes of break, so don't go anywhere. Keep with us on Nation Wars 4, Canada versus Sweden.